Thank you.
You're going first, yeah, okay. And Dray can go on second. I've got to note that Dray needs to be on here as well.
Great.
Anybody else needs to be on the first half? Fokkina, you're on mute, but I'm assuming that you.
Yeah, could I go first? It's just that I'm an hour ahead.
That's right. So are you okay? So you okay going third? I'll just make a note of that.
Yeah, lovely. Thank you.
Okay. So let me make it Mel first. Second is Dray. Fokkina third. Okay. I was going to put Al Gordon Zola. Put you on fourth. I know you usually. You want to go the second half, mate. I know you often go the second half.
Can you hear me? Yeah.
Yeah. You want to go second half or first, mate? I know you've been having technology issues, but
Second half, yeah. Well, I'm what's that? Kittens sitting here, so you might get an appearance by 2 kittens.
That's all right, mate. So you're okay? You want to go first half, yeah?
No, second half.
All right, well, second half. Okay. Anybody else got any preferences? I always like to go near the end because then people tend to like drift it off or fall asleep or whatever. Got bored, so I'm going at the end.
No, just shove me wherever suits.
Okay then. Lovely. Okay, so what we'll do then is we'll have Mel, Dray, Fokkina, Tracey can go fourth, Elenia can go fifth. Bloody pen's gone out. Hang on a sec. Believe it. I'll get my best one. I'll get my Sunday pen out. Yeah. So Mel, Dray, Fokkina, Tracey, maybe Jeffarama. You want to go in the first half, mate?
Yeah, no worries, mate. Cheers.
Jeff, and then Alicia, do you want to go first half? Okay, so Mel, okay. I'll take it from there. Maybe I'll shout up a couple more. Mike,
yeah.
Go first half and take it from. Okay. Take it from. Maybe Andy finishes it off in the first half. Okay, and then everybody else is okay. You all right, Mary? Second half.
Yeah.
All right, that's good. Okay. Anybody just message me, inbox me, as you say, if you want to. If something happens and you need to move on. We tend to go on mute. We tend to have people on mute unless you unless you know you're going to be quiet. You should be quiet where I am, so I won't go on mute. But if you've got some background noise going on, go on mute. We tend to leave it to people usually. Okay. All right then. So without further ado, we'll introduce our first reader tonight. It's Mel Moulton. You're on mute, Mel.
Sorry about that.
All right.
Hi, I'm Melanie Moulton, and I've got 2 poems that I wrote them both this week. So yeah, the first one, it's called PTSD. My knees have gone weak and my legs feel like jelly. Spin cycle is going on inside my belly. My body is hot and I feel so dizzy. Shame because my writing was keeping me busy. I need to lie down and try to forget. The monsters are rampant inside my head. Out of the blue, I just wasn't expecting a shock to my system. It's very perplexing. My mind is now turning this into a poem. What goes on inside me, I think I will show them. The after effects of my traumas today. I think that is all that I wanted to say. Thank you. So that's that one. And the other one's a bit lighter, lighten the mood a bit. And this is called Favourites. I wrote this about, well, you'll hear in a minute. If John Cooper Clarke and Pam Ayres had a baby, they'd end up with me, haha, possibly maybe. 2 of my country heroes they are. I've never met them, I admire from afar. Oh, to be so good, I can but dream. The subjects they cover, they're such a scream. The best, both gifted and humble, the best of Britain's great talents. I'll never forget. I grew up in awe of the way they could rhyme. my favourites since age 10, now both past their prime. Remember them fondly with love and respect. But it's time for some new blood, let's see who comes next. Perhaps it could be me, a hope and a dream. It's my time to shine now, I'm feeling serene. The nerves are still there, the adrenaline buzz of being on stage, I pretend it's just us. I'm paying homage to the ones gone before me. They taught me to rhyme, and now that is my forte. Thank you very much for listening.
Thank you. Thanks, Mel. We hope to see you again at Speakeasy. Thank you.
Thanks so much.
You're welcome. Next up is Dray Zera.
Hello, everybody, and good evening, good day, good morning, wherever you are watching in this world, whether you're live or on playback, live on Facebook. I have 2 poems for you. My name is Dray Zera, and this is Discarded, Unloved. Screw me up in ragged paper, discarded, and toss me away like everyone else, unloved, thinking we were building pillars. But you demolished and abandoned us, leaving me to weep. The same tune keeps repeating and repeating. I can't find the stop button to end it all. I am not discarded goods. I will find love, I know I will. So if you're only here for one night thrill, then you better slip on your oil spill. No longer I shall be discarded. See you. Thank you. And I've got one more poem. So to give context, I am actually in a happy relationship. That poem was written 3 years ago. So life feels good. And shout out to Andy N, who is part running this event, because I am wearing an AEW John Moxley t-shirt. If you know wrestling, you know. And also myself, Andy, and Paul, we also co-run a podcast about wrestling. Shout out for that. So anyway, my second poem is called Rose Slaughter, which this poem is available in my mini film series called Psycho Lucy. It goes like this. Cut this phoenix from the throat. Let the rain hide my tears. Pierce a bolt through the chest to throat this sorry carcass of breath. I am hurting. I'm just explaining the fact that I'm in agony from the misery of the house we once built. Foundation steady, doors open, warm candles, stainless sheets. Then he let it all burn to its very foundation. Smolder the doors to ruin, letting these candles cinder to dust. How could a rose seep so deep? So deep, it tears apart the tendons that keep me standing. These sheets are forever stained in the sin that I thought I once trusted you. Send my love to the slaughter. Thank you very much, guys. My name is Dray Zera. All my details I'll post on there. And I've got a cool book called Broken Circuit Board. All the details will be there in one very cool link. And I shall Zera later. Goodbye.
Thank you, Dray Zera, the inimitable Dray Zera. Thank you for that. Next up, joining us from Holland, where she's 1 hour ahead. She's been bragging about that before. She's a fine poet, dear friend of mine, and published poet. It's Fokkina McDowell.
Thank you, Steve. Thank you. A couple of you know that I had some great news last month. I got a Writers' Award from New Writing North, and it's actually a set of poems about remembering and not remembering. So I thought they're quite short. I thought I should read 3 from that. Remembering. Remembering is like hay fever, there before you know it. Other people unaffected and smiling. Remembering is a disease with a double-barreled name like Schadenfreude unheimlich. And the GP, whom you've waited to see for at least a week, looks through you and says, she's never heard of it. It's being back in a classroom. You can't read the blackboard sums, and the teacher is pointing at you. And the short poem from a little bit further on in the set, Field. It is morning, too early to know if the breeze will turn into a horse, standing still, eyes closed. If it were to become a lost dog, you'll see it running, yelping the lengths of that black, dry stone wall. A field like this could be anywhere. I think green, think clouds, think winter. In my memory, it's early evening, sunny. The ropes of a hot air balloon stretched taut. And the last poem is after a poem by Thomas Trenströmer, one of my favorites. So it's inspired by a poem by him called Homewards. And this is Overnight in a Hotel. The stone building in the old part of town survived 2 wars. The cobbled street may be named Boulanger or Tibouret. The windows give views of the river, yellow street lamps, a thin layer of snow. You wait in that room for a phone to ring. Your thoughts will be laid to rest in wingback chairs, subtly checked. A row of robust coat hangers catches sadness, guilt, and shame. Pearly buttons, plain trousers, and creased linen suit. Each dream includes that small compass, its trembling red needle showing you there will always be a way home. Thank you.
Lovely, thank you. Thank you, Fokkina. Okay, our next reader is Tracey Walker. Welcome,
That's
Tracey.
me. Hiya. Hi, everybody. Right, I'm just going to do some technology. Right, I wrote this quite a while ago. I think a few people have heard it, but I'll read it again. And it's about addiction. And it's called Red. She loved red. Her favourite flower was the poppy. Like her, it was herbaceous. Every winter, it withered inert below the surface. Each spring, it rose, blooming to its full glory in the red summer sun. She loved the delicate fold of its red petals, reminding her of the red petticoats under the dresses of shackled maids. She liked the thought of it being nourished by the red blood and bone of soldiers in their shallow graves. Its latex stirrup protecting its seed intrigued her, oozing out when she caressed its downy bud. She courted the opiate. With red flame, she burnt the midnight oil of her pipe dream, calming the red fury in her heart, feeling the seductive warmth of the red heat as it soared through her veins. She embraced the warm cocoon of her head as the opiate warmed her muscles to red molten lead, intoxicating her. A pipe dream shroud of red love engulfed her. Red blood coursed through her veins, overspilling into the world, nourishing the poppy, turning the whole world red. She smiled. She loved red. Thanks. And the second one I'm going to read is one that I wrote just recently. I wrote it in response to the Black Lives Matter campaign. And when I was a child, and a young adult, to be honest. My sister-in-law had a child who was mixed race, and this is about my memories of that, really, because she suffered really bad prejudice that you wouldn't, you know, and it goes on anyway. So this is I wrote, it hasn't got a title, but I wrote it in response to Black Lives Matter. When I think of you, I think of the summer sun reflecting on oiled skin. The yellow, orange, lime colours that you wore make my mouth water with the memory of fresh fruit hanging on the trees. I remember the long hours of detangling your hair with conditioner to tame the curls, how you squirmed and writhed as it was bound in tight plaits. No afro hair for you, my girl, your mum would say. I recall the taunts in the playground, the jeers on the street, the shame and guilt you carried for the colour of your skin. I remember wearing black tights and white shoes to emulate your fashion. In later years, I smile as you spoke Afrikaans with your sisters and your brothers, laughed as the secret language was alien to my ears, but not for long. My ears understood your words, but my mouth couldn't speak. I don't often think of you, but when I do, I wear dreadlocks, dance reggae, eat goat curry and black peas. I think of your straight back holding down 2 jobs, raising your children, the elation of singing to God. I think of persecution, segregation, oppression and supplication. I feel the iron ring around my neck of your ancestors enslaved, the weight of the chains that bound your cultural wrists. Gang culture resounds with the clicks of the tribe, your sons incarcerated with invisible shackles, never to fly free. I feel the weight of the knee on George Floyd's neck as another brother's life is stolen. So I join my voice, raise my fist for my brothers, for my sisters, because Black Lives Matter. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you, Tracey. Thank you for that. Okay, next up is our next reader performer is Elenia.
Hi, so good to be here again. Sorry that I've had to keep my camera off. I got loaded with so much work that I need to get finished tonight. But I'm listening to everyone having a great time. So I've got 2 poems, maybe 3 if there's time, that I'm writing for my master's dissertation collection. There's some explicit language in there and discussions of sexual assault. So if you don't want to hear that, then just so you know. So this the poem's called Raw Food. The worms are having me, my last supper, and I'm not even eating. I eat once a day to punish myself for the shape I press into the mattress. I eat once a day because withdrawal messes with your appetite. I send her a picture of my instant ramen. She says they aren't even cooked. Don't worry, I'm letting them soak a bit longer. They will be soft in 2 minutes. I want to be edible. Pour a kettle of boiling water on me. I will scream in blister until I'm too ugly to eat. No one's ever licked my asshole and told me they loved me. He just asked, can I fuck you there? Because we had no condoms. And I said no and no and no. Reached for my filthiest joggers and high school band t-shirt, and who would want to eat that? I'm a dyke, but the only people I love are men made men by the hands of other men, my homo brothers who hold me up. The girl I want to kiss texts me, and I send her a photo of my instant ramen, but I want to send her my tits. Here, let me show you something that deserves to be taken in your mouth. Slapped up, let me send you my daily meal. I want to be edible. I'm 22, how many years do I have left before I have to kill myself? I want to be edible, edible. A pack of digestives, easily digested. You can devour a whole sleeve in one night and buy the. I want to eat her earlobes and drink sweat out of her belly button. Maybe once she's seen how good I sleep after a meal, how easy I am to fatten up with just 2 fingers in my mouth, she'll tell me I don't need the kettle or the water or the filth. The girl I want to kiss shaves her head in the bathroom mirror. I shave my homo brother's head. I slice mine right off at the base of my neck and bury it in Whitworth Park. go back home to press my headless shape into the mattress and whisper, no and no and no, while the blood comes spilling out of all my openings and no one tells me they love me. Oh, that one was called Raw Food. I forgot to say that. This one's called If Not Summer, which is a play on the fragments of Sappho collection called If Not Winter. Sorry, these are all about sex for some reason. After Robbie spends 45 minutes pumping into me while I pretend not to be a virgin, I bury myself under the duvet on my single bed. Robbie back at his girlfriend's. 2 weeks later, I suck on his friend's cock and even exchange for weed. Though I told him earlier I'm not gonna fuck you, and by heterosexual standards, I didn't. It's fine, really, except I still cry when I tell my therapist about Reese, the blood he left on my door handle, and desire, a broken word for teenage alcoholic, for feeling untouchable, that is, unable to be touched, for fulfillment of diagnostic criteria, like impulsive behavior, tick, chaotic interpersonal relationships, tick, desire, from Latin, desiderare, meaning to demand or to long for, and aren't those two very different things? When her thigh presses into me, I die, but in the way I feel dies in summer, the heat sucking all water out of capillaries, green blades turning golden, the white sky's breathy vacuum, all that was pumping through the soil and the stems and the tiny veins, emerging from the dirt, a body of steam hovering above the rolling blanket landscape, a kind of summer no meteorologist can explain, a kind of new that rearranges molecules in curious ways. Solids, liquids, gaseous words, you can choose them to mean what you long for. This is what I hear when she whispers. This is what I whisper back. I have been filling myself with wet earth. I am full and turned towards the sun. Is there time for another?
Yeah, we're doing okay for time at the moment. So we haven't seen it for a while. So yeah, go for it.
Okay, this one's this one I had to write for uni, and it's an Ars Poetica, which is a poem about poetry, and it's supposed to like be about the craft of poetry while enacting it at the same time, which sounds kind of convoluted. But it's called Siderophobia, which is the fear of stars. After sundown, I lift my gaze from my untrustworthy feet up to the ceiling, expecting luminous cut-out shapes placed there by some bigger hand. Humanity has read the stars for directions in the dark since before they had the names we call them now with educated tongues. Yet I can only bear to watch their fitful echoes for a moment until I press my eyes shut, wishing the night sky was simple, like yellow-painted asterisks. Let me imagine the open, not a dome made from black cardboard paper, but a space between objects whose ancient lights jitter and spark. Suddenly I feel a kinship with the first soul to remake the world, where drawing lines from light to light in shapes no one had ever seen, but everyone recognized. If I leave space for other astronomical existences beyond my titanic explosions, the constellations seem to burn out with me in shared time. Thanks. Thanks, everyone.
Thank you. That's great stuff. Thank you, Elenia. Good to see you, and I hope you managed to get your work done in time. Yeah. So we know you'll be sort of with us, and keeping half an ear out open for us. So good to see you again. Okay. Next up is Jeff Dawson, better known as Jeffarama.
Thanks, Steve. Thanks, everyone. Good stuff so far. Really enjoying it. I've not done a great deal of new stuff lately, apart from a few poems that we're putting in a book that myself, Tony Kinsella, Gordon Zola, and Ian Whiteley, 3/4 of whom are here tonight, better known as Bard Company. So we've got this book out. It's a book if you're from round my way, North Manchester, Bolton, Wigan. And it's a book if you're from South Manchester, apparently. There are 5 we'll be sharing on Facebook. It's about it's new poems. If you're of a socialist nature, then you'll love it. A bit of a Tory bashing. There's poetry, there's comedy, satire, puzzles, games, 64 pages of socialist delights. I'll drop yours off, Andy. So yeah, get in touch if you want one. And I'll do a couple of poems from that I've written that are in the book. The first one's called "The Struggles Go On," and it's about people in the world who have got a lot more to fight than just the coronavirus. And so our lives are consumed by the worldwide pandemic, and before that it was Brexit. For most of the world though, they're struggling to survive, just looking for an exit. Like black men and women protesting on US streets, and the Palestinian people of the Middle East, the people of the Yemen fleeing from war, the Syrians in camps on the Turkish border, the Rohingya people forced from their homes, millions of children living in war zones. The list is endless, the pain goes on. Innocent people forever on the run. Fear from terror and violence, their struggles go on. The virus seems insignificant, they're battling for their lives, summoning up courage, just trying to survive, begging and pleading for a normal life, fighting for freedom and the right to be alive. Thank you. And for all you staunch socialists out there, see we've got a few. Tracey, Steve and Andy, Janie. This one's for you guys. Keep up the solidarity. This is called Not Now, Not Ever. And this is what it means for me to be a socialist and try and help people and make this place a better world. Never will we bow to the so-called elite, to allow our pencils to mark their ballot box paper. Not now, not ever. Be in no doubt, you will never mix in their circles or be invited to their homes. Our compassion drives us. We fight for those shunned and hate victims stunned by the treatment they received. We fight for those in need and the victims of greed. Our passion and politics is the lifeblood of our arts. Our music and words is what sets us apart, driving us on and giving us hearts. We wouldn't swap their money for any of this. We wear our hearts on our sleeves. It is what it is. While we've a breath in our bodies, they will never get our vote. Socialists for life, unity, strength and hope. Thank you. Thanks very much. And it's a great night. Keep up the good work. I don't think Tories have many nights like this. So power to you all and stay safe and take care. Thanks, Steve and Andy. Cheers.
Thank you, Jeff. Thank you. What I'd like to add to that is that really I've known Gordon Zola for maybe 5 years doing these nights and met Jeff, and he said they've got a band called Bard Company, you know, and of course Gordon Zola's like the master of the pub. And I thought, yeah, why not? I'll go along, you know, I'll support the guys. And sometimes we're all a bit guilty of doing that. You're not guilty, but you think, well, you know, I'll go and support my mates. And I had a fantastic time. I didn't realise it'd be that good, you know, and they're really funny, really engaging, daft as a bus, and they had the audience sitting out of the hand, and it was in Chorlton Library, it was packed, all the kids running around, everything, it was scorching hot, and it was the best thing on Chorlton Arts Festival that year. So You know, if we can support this sort of, support the guys by buying the book, I'm sure it'll be a lot of fun. And what's it called? I don't know where you said the title, Jeff. What's it called, mate?
Bad Company's Little Red Book.
See a little red book. See what they did there? Little red book. Okay.
A little red book. Cheers, Steve. That was a great afternoon in that Charlton gig there. Cheers, man.
Absolutely, mate. Honestly. Okay. Okay. I think we've got a couple more people coming. I want to try to get everybody at least, even if you're not down to read, to at least read one poem, because we're going to have a break in August. So if you're here and you're watching, just have a poem in your back pocket ready, because I might shout you there now. Okay. So next up is I'm going to ask Alicia Fitton to read next. Alicia.
Hi everyone. So I have a tendency to overschedule myself. I always have about 6 projects going on at any one time, and I just don't know when to stop. So the lockdown has been quite, I'm going to say, therapeutic for me, in that it's forced me to stay in one place. But I wrote this poem recently on the subject of exhaustion. I stayed at home again and left the unsettling micro-obscurities of social conversation to scatter over someone other's guilty conscience. I stayed at home again, caffling on a sofa more comfortable than a coffee shop, though I missed the cake as big as my face and the layers of too sweet cream topped with fruit. I stayed at home again, for I could not bear the cues and the signs and the socially distant kerfuffle. I stayed at home again, for even glass begins to sag after centuries. It cannot hold, so rigid and fragile, ready to crack at any great shock. It runs slowly, imperceptibly, in rivulets, consolidating itself, becoming thick and undesirable, yet beautiful, yet useless. Thank you.
Yeah.
So, I'm going to take a bit of a risk. This is one that I'm not 100% certain it's finished yet, so see what you think. All feedback welcome. It's the latest in my series on Greek mythology, and it's about Io, who, for those of you who don't know, she was a cowherd who was chased by Zeus, but in order to keep her secret from his wife, he turned her into a cow. His wife found out anyway and turned herself into a fly to kind of fly about and bother the cow. So this is a poem. This is told from his wife's viewpoint. I watch him watch you, sweet Io, your hair tied back in silken ropes, gown gathered soft about your waist to save it from the grime of life, dusty feet planted sure in every step as you gather the herd and bring them home. I watch him tease you, sweet Io, in lusty shape of supple youth. The sweat of imagined labour brings your touched, darkened skin. He is seductive, my easy husband, his pretence of help left far by the path. You capitulate, sweet Io, amongst the herd's green meadow grass, sown with tiny purple flowers. The strangest beast forms 2 broad backs. His careless kiss, long and nimble fingers bring you to holy revelation. You can't hide from me, sweet Io. The thickest fog most obvious, its blot upon the nighttime cloak begs further investigation. Though mountain air needs no great persuading, his roaring absence draws such suspicion. I hear you call out, sweet Io. The milky heifers pay no heed to the husk caught deep in your throat. Reality cracks around us, a promise made in wrath, in jealousy, to you and him, sealed with the blush of blood. He shaped you badly, sweet Io, but still I will not leave you be to wander from the mountain path. No hand to guide your bovine head, your kin too blind to recognise your eyes, and oblivious to your unasked fate. The mist on your skin, sweet Io, lingers wet in heavy droplets like dew upon the morning grass, a taste so intricate, complex, I could elaborate your 20 years. I could remap your flesh and hair and skin. I watch you watch me, sweet Io, borne high upon your velvet flanks, so small to see yet constant felt. For I am not my husband, child. My memory winds long around the blame, around his lies, and I cannot forget you. Thank you.
Lovely, thank you, Alicia. Thank you very much. Okay, next person up is, I was going to say speakeasy regular, but we've got quite a few speakeasy regulars now. Next up is Mike Booth.
Beginning to think that's my middle name. You always introduce me as a speakeasy regular.
I don't know what else to say about you.
If my internet cuts out, then just put me on in the second half because it froze a few minutes ago. So here we go.
Okay.
Scoop me from my metal bed, pour me on the counter. To your desire, let me be fed. Could be a brief encounter. Sprinkle me in condiments, wrap me in a cone. Pepper me with seasoning, you can take me home. Squirt me with your blood red sauce, dolloped mayo dripping. Scrape me from the bag, horse, as paper bag you're ripping. Let my crusted covering crunch between your teeth. Want to leave you slavering and swooning with relief. And walking home, I touch your lips with salty taster dripping. Your finger in my layers dips, you squeeze me till I'm slipping. Take me, here and now. No need to make the kitchen. On the sofa, anyhow, all scruples we are ditching. Your appetite, so big at first, is now becoming sated. Come, big boy, do your worst. Your lust is now abated. And lying here among the sauce, I start to feel rejected. I am the one who's left, of course, and now I feel neglected. You quickly down a pint or two, and footy makes you sleepy. A one-night stand of me and you, which started in the chippy. Thank you. This one's similar theme in some senses, but a little bit more serious. It's called Lines. At the moment, might be called something different. You can lose yourself without boundaries, sand without lines, no path or signs. Slip the lead, lose the reins, and leave your compass. Follow your firefly heart and wallow in marshmallow words. Cushioned by caution, leap over the mark.
Steve, we've lost him.
Oh, no. Brand new start. Are our passport-free possibility? No border controls or walls to hold you in your restless waiting to be found.
Is this part of his act or is it?
It's cool, isn't
Mike.
it?
And love changes. I love pedestal.
Yeah, it's part of his act.
Experimental.
Cut off from the prime.
We missed a bit of you there, mate. We lost you for a little while. And you were like Norman Collier.
All right, shall I try it again?
Hey?
Did you get all the first one?
Yeah.
We got all the first one.
Not the second.
The best bits of the second.
Do you want to give it one more try? I'm hoping, fingers crossed, eh?
Okie doke, mate.
Right. You can lose yourself without boundaries, sand without lines, no paths or signs. Slip the lead, lose the reins, and leave your compass. Follow your firefly heart and wallow in marshmallow words. Cushioned by caution, leap over the mark. Relish the free fall of a brand new start. Boundless beauty, guidelines, not rules, controls or walls to hold you in your restless waiting. Wanting yet fearing to be bound, lost, not needing to be found. And love changes. I love changes too. Life rearranges, dancing here with you. And here's a pedestal, statue long gone, a goddess who lives there in a song. Awoken from her stony sleep, steps down to wiggle sandy feet. She heard a call and blood restored, but sad and lonely, she sang it back. Not for me only, but all who came transfixed would stop and call her name, with pain and longing, fear and shame. I chose to steer my ship to rocks. The lifeline snapped, lashed by the sea, it splintered there, and I jumped free. The union there made light and heat, and so our words pulsed hearts to beat. Two tinder twigs so quickly caught, with blended feelings, common thought. Passion grew, we lived our best, and sadness, loss, like widow birds, with wings of lead who weave a nest from grass long dead, and mossy leaf gave us warmth and sweet relief. With fingers crossed, we choose our path each day, and lines in sand are whispered away. A gentle breeze of discontent shifts night to day, transforming straight to bent. Tides lift the grains and suspend us too, and swell and fall, upend our plans with knife anew. Sounding bells, caressed and held, the heart swells with me and you, past life and this. It pulses and devours, feasts upon each second spent, the minutes, hours, feeds body, mind and lapping tongue. We dig beneath the boundary walls, grow tall in spirit, tall and strong, and treasured moments last so long. And when climbs the path in dust by gathered clouds and fear is lost, single file or side by side, we wander, unleashed free. World of hope, no boundary. I dread the loss of what was me, but as I stoop, paths arose, lit up so bright by honeyed words, and thoughts and dreams this sower sows. Let loose the limits, free like birds. Thank you. Did that last then? Thanks everyone. Thank you for having me, Andy, as well, and Steve.
Okay, mate. Thank you for that. Yeah, glad we managed to catch most of this. Caught most of the second one this time. So well done. Okay, I've got another couple of readers to finish us off. I was Carolyn, are you okay going next but one? Carolyn, are you okay? Is that all right? Thank you. It's just that, it'll just even up the two halves. Yeah. So next up.
No problem.
Thank you very much. Next up is Andy N. Andy Nicholson.
Hi guys. Okay, I'll jump straight in now tonight. I've got two for you tonight. And okay, first one is a sonnet. But I've got permission to write this one by some Shakespeare sonnet website. So anyway, The Sound of Silence. There is a silence and the slightest, most softest sound, whether in a place where no sound should be, or a cold unmourned grave where no love is found, buried deep under a rotting black and blue tree, where once, like a glowing apple, ripe and red, love once had so much feeling and so much life. Now the roads have changed, I remembered what you said, tearing our love like a desolate paper to the wind and the slice, screaming you didn't know what you were going to do or see, drenched in an ice-cold flood of tears, your emotions completely enraged and engulfed me, eclipsing my innermost worst ever fears, tainting the fact there is a silence in the slightest ring, or whatever song I'll always hear you sing. Okay guys, that's the first one. Now, this is a bit more abstract on the second piece. So this simply is a poem about nothing. So this is called Nothing. This is a poem about nothing. It is not about the two women. Great America was back in their youth, and now under Trump, I know eventually it gets in after him, will still leave a bit-like taste in the air. This is a poem about nothing. It is not about people who stood outside our train carriage on the way to my parents, minus masks, and are saying the virus doesn't exist, has never existed, and was made up just to control us further. There's no shape or form, and its meaning is endless, changing whatever time of the day you decide to read it, whether in your phone or graffiti painted onto the bridge, which may say one day Johnson is a god, and the next is two-faced punk. This is a poem about nothing. From going past towns and cities I've never visited on the way to work, to going past polluted rivers covered in the laziness of companies with all the sewage, to into whatever they want really thinking of what they're doing. It's not about sitting in the deserted waiting room in the middle of a heavy snowstorm, or sat there wondering if everything would go back to the way it was, and you will soon be fighting like you used to get a seat heading home every night. This is a poem that slips under the most simplest of patterns, where it was minimum of fuss, whether you were sat there at your local water reservoir at its closed and general public viewing, or running away from the security who may see you there. This is a poem really about eternity, or after a while, a whole series of nothings, offering no answer to who is right and who is wrong, and where you are heading next, repeating endings are beginnings, and spaced particles finally finding hope together at the edge of a black hole. Cheers, guys. I'm knackered after that.
Thanks, Andy. Thanks very much. Okay, ninth and our reader to close out the first half is Carolyn Crossley.
Thank you. I've got 2 points here. The first one came about following several conversations with some of my friends, and it's called Invisible Women. Women of a certain age become invisible. We just disappear from view. Our opinions are not sought. They just aren't listened to. Yet we are older and often wiser, would make excellent mentors or advisors. We may well have lived extraordinary lives, not your normal 9 to 5s. But how will they know if we are invisible? How will they know if they don't let us speak? We are wise women. We know the score. We've been there and got the T-shirt before. We are smart. We are sassy. We won't be told what to do. We have opinions due to experience, a different point of view, none the less valid because we are women of a certain age. So stop ignoring us. Stop trying to enrage. Stop trying to silence us. Or young ladies, one thing is true. When you get to our age, this could be you. Thank you. And my second poem is called Summer Solstice, although it does seem a rather long time away now, but there you go. Summer Solstice. Despite the science, mystery still exists, with magic as its alliance. Science protests and resists. Our ancestors built henges of stone to worship the sun as it rises and sets, where the wind cries out with a moan, and the lonely lost soul still frets. Were humans sacrificed here by druid priests dressed in white? Can we still taste that palpable fear as we watch this majestic sight? Or was it a measurement of time, summer solstice, the longest of days, when daylight reigns a sign as the wheel turns in an endless maze? Time marches on to the autumn equinox, when day and night hours are equal. The wheel turns like a cunning fox, when night hours are more than days, a fitting sequel. Winter solstice is the opposite of summer, the shortest day, the longest night. Tired of stories, games, and plays with mummers, the wheel turns again to spring, a blessed sight. Spring equinox bursts forth, fresh and new. Again, daytime hours are the same as night. Then behold, the summer solstice hearkens the few, as mankind acknowledges the bright shining light. The wheel of the year turns eternal, as it did in our ancestors' time, from solstice to equinox, summer, winter, autumnal and vernal, still turning our world still marking tide and time. Thank you.
Thanks, Carolyn. Good way to end the first half. 9 readers there. Excellent readers. Thank you for that. What I'm going to do is that we'll have a break till 9. We'll give it about 12, 13 minutes. We're doing really well for time, and we've had a couple of 2 or 3 late cry-offs. So anybody who's here, who's watching, who wants to read, then you're welcome to do that. As I said, especially seeing that we're going to have a break. So the running order is and I'll read your name out if I can see you. So if you don't want to read, that's cool as well. You know, so we've got Tony, Mary, Michelle, Lisa, Yvonne, Sonia, Esther, Maria, Jane, and Gordon Zola. Everybody
Did
okay?
you say me then?
I did say you want to read?
Yeah, I'm not feeling up to it. Sorry.
Not a problem at all. It's fine to say.
I'm recovering from COVID. I've been ill for 4 months, and I'm quite tired actually. I was going to say I'm going to have to stop now, but it's been really nice to see you all and great to hear your poems.
Okay, Jane.
Next time, hopefully.
Good luck, Jamie.
Thanks very much. Yeah, going to have a rest now.
Look after yourself. Yeah.
Thank you. You too.
Take care.
Take care. Thanks. Bye.
Bye.
Take care, Jenny.
Thanks. I will. You too. Bye.
Okay, guys. So, say if you don't want to read, just message me, and I think I've covered everybody. I've not left anybody out. So, Mary, yeah, I've got your second, Mary. Yeah.
Yeah, that's fine.
So, okay, just that you were doing a thing with your hand. I just thought you were.
Oh no, sorry. I was still going by to everyone.
Okay, still there. Okay. Okay. See you at 9 o'clock. Okay. Cheers.
Right, I'm going back at 9 now.
Break now.
Yeah.
What time does it finish that? You don't know.
You should finish about quarter to 10 or later.
Hi, Alan. How was your little cats? Cooey. How's your cats, Alan?
Hi, Tracy. Yeah, they're driving me mad.
Are they?
They're like the Bond villain. Yeah, they won't say.
You're like a Bond villain. Stroking it.
Yeah.
On it.
That used to die, Mr. Bond. Yeah. They're not too keen on the screen, so they keep going behind me. So they'll probably appear on my shoulders, on my head during my set.
Yeah, you look like you've got a beaver hat on. Are you enjoying being a pet owner though?
Yeah.
Yeah. Proud parent of 2 little kittens.
I know they're lovely, really. What's it? They're just a bit boisterous.
Oh yeah, well they're babies, aren't they? Did you know that you've got another screen on that says Gordon Zola?
Oh, where?
Up there.
Well, I've got Gordon and Eve, haven't I?
Yeah, but there's one up here that says Gordon Zola.
Have I got 2?
Yeah.
That must be on my phone.
Ah, you were using your data.
Oh, God. Yeah.
Hey, sweetheart, are you okay?
Oh, well, yeah.
It
Are you all
gone.
right? Are you
Has
all
it
right,
gone
darling?
now, Tracy?
You know, it's still there.
You see, I've switched my phone off.
Oh, it'll go in a minute then. Hi, Maria, are you okay?
Yeah, I'm fine. How are you?
Yeah, I'm all right. Tired, but I'm all right. Staring up. I'm just gonna go and make a drink ready for 9 o'clock.
I'm going to make a drink.
You going making a drink? I'm going making a drink. Are you going making a drink, sweetheart?
I'll have a coffee for you if you're going.
Okay. No probs. Been doing my knitting.
I'm doing that. Oh, multitasking.
Oh, always. I can't sit still. I have to do something, you know, I can't just sit still. I have to do something with my hands at all times.
Go and brew up then.
Eh?
Go and brew up.
Yeah, I'll go and brew up. I'm just finishing my row. Keep your hat on. Keep your hair on, Baldy.
Walk down the streamlined haircut.
I know. If you keep bloody giving it a number 2, you'll be bald before you know it.
Nah. Oh, it's rain.
I'll make a brew. I'm spitting feathers. Hiya, Tony. How was your holiday?
It was absolutely fab, thanks. It was just nice to just in prison for a few days.
Yeah.
As far as I know, I'm still alive.
Okay. Well, it's good to see you still alive and you still enjoyed it.
Yeah, it was just strange. It was really quiet everywhere.
Was it?
Our place is open. We were able to get a couple of nice meals, obviously.
Yeah.
There lots of distancing going on, but it was possible to do kind of normal holiday things just about.
Yeah. Well, I bet it was dead weird, was it? Is everybody being dead tentative around you and stuff?
Yeah, just little things like, you know, normally when you have a buffet in a hotel and it's always buffet. So when you have a breakfast, it's always a buffet.
Yeah.
They were doing table service because they didn't want people mingling, so there was all those kind of things. But it was all not perfectly good.
Did it not play at all?
Pretend you were in the real world again. You weren't really.
I prefer that though, don't you? Prefer table service to a buffet?
Yeah.
Because I always worry in case somebody sneezed on it or something.
Yeah, breakfast was superb. It was right on the seafront as well.
I'd rather have my breakfast cooked, nice and fresh, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would.
Would you, Yvonne?
Yeah, I won't like it like that either.
No, I don't like it like that because I don't like the thought that loads of people have queued up and breathed on it. Call me
I agree.
Faddy, but I'm just called Faddy. It's my middle name.
I think I'd be a bit scared to fly at the moment. I don't know. I think that'll be a long time off.
Oh yeah.
Another year. I'd do staycations for about another year, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, I don't want to be breathing other people's breath at the minute.
Sins of the father.
Nah, don't want to be flying nowhere. No.
Well, you never know if it's like circulated air, do you? You don't know.
Well,
if
that's what they
filters
do,
it.
isn't it? They circulate the air, and I think till next year when we're sure that it's not going to be even worse in the winter time. I think it's best to just stay put and be careful. To be fair.
Unless you have to wear your mask throughout your flight. I don't know how
Yeah,
it works,
you do.
really.
Yeah, you do. Yeah, I believe so.
How are you going to eat your food? You can't lift it up and shove something in and put it back down, can you?
No, you're not allowed to have food.
Oh, no.
No, you're not allowed to have food or drink.
Well, that's no good because I'm diabetic. I've got to eat every 4 hours.
Yeah.
So if I go on a flight that's more than 4 hours, what on earth am I going to do?
Well, you're just going to have to go to Spain. Oh.
I'll have to go to a flight that's only 2 hours or something.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, there's got to be a way around it or something, hasn't there?
Yeah, there's got to be a way around it. I'm going to make a drink. Won't be a minute.
Yeah, me too.
Okay.
It's in feathers. Oh, I'll put me on mute so it doesn't echo.
Don't like that noise, is it? It's like a...
I can hear you.
Don't know what that is.
It's me.
Really good set, Carolyn, by the way.
Oh, thank you very much. Could you identify?
Yes, definitely.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah. Any of you involved in this Bradford Fringe this weekend or anything?
No, didn't know about it.
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah. I went last year. It was really good.
Yeah.
There's like musicians and storytellers, and it's just and comedians. It's just a really good feel-good thing. Of course, this
Yeah.
year, because we can't meet up, we're doing it on Zoom. I'm not sure how that's going to work yet.
Yeah.
I'm going to give it a try. I'm
Yeah.
part of it. So, yeah.
I'm doing a set on Sunday night, Carolyn.
Oh, are you?
Oh yeah, I am as well. Yeah. Brilliant.
Oh, I'll have to come. I'll come and be in the audience then.
Yeah, I think it's 7 till 8:30. I think I can't remember. I think it is.
Oh, it's, on Sunday it's about 7:30 till 10.
Right.
Oh, is it a bit? Is it a bit longer? I didn't know what time.
It's about 7 or 8 poets on.
Yeah, I'm on there as well.
Nice one.
Did you go last year?
No. I've just
All
got
right.
involved in it with it through Luke Hogarth.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So I do a few gigs with him. So you know. So yeah, I've done a few things. So
That's
all
really
right.
good. Yeah, well, good. A good laugh. We need to do something, don't we, to keep us all together and, you know.
You're right, we do.
Because we don't know what future holds any of us, do we? So.
No.
No, not the way things are going. No.
We have to try and keep positive, I guess, don't we?
Yeah.
I work in a school, a primary school, and it's been really surreal this year because all the year sixes all the year fives all the year sixes, who were going to high school, had to leave without like a party or get the shirts signed or. I mean, we've done it all over. We've sent them T-shirts out, but it's not the same.
No.
As having teachers sign them and stuff.
Yeah.
And we've had eight children of key worker children have been in our class, and they're in like a bubble, so it's safe. It's completely safe. But you go past all these empty classrooms, it's really surreal. Do you know what I mean? It's like, you know, and the corridors are silent, and playgrounds, you're only allowed out at a certain time in the playground. You can't go out to another class out, and we've got like children from age 6 up to 8. And they're bewildered. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like, it's really hard. It's been really hard, that.
What are they doing in September, Yvonne?
Well, our school, we've got about 700 kids at our school, so I think they're going to have to stagger them coming in, so they might have like reception and year 1 coming in on a Monday and whatever. I don't know how they're going to do it. I really don't.
I work in a college, they're doing 1 week in, 1 week off, and then they've got to work from home on the week off.
Yeah, I think that's what will happen with my daughter. My daughter goes to college, and I think that's what they'll do with her as well.
The only problem is there's an assumption that every kid in Salford can get access to laptops and Wi-Fi, and it's not the case at all. So, you know,
it's not.
Working from home, he's making assumptions that don't really apply.
Exactly. Well, when we realised all this was going on, that it was going to happen, it was imminent. We devised all these packs, and so they had like a bit of reading in, a bit of maths in, some colouring sheets, some word searches. You know, a proper fun activity, but with a bit of learning in between. Really big packs, and we sent every child home with one. So at least, because we didn't know how long it was going to last for in March, and so at least they'll have had something to do. And then we've got a website now at our school, so parents and carers and grandparents and that can access it. And do you know what I mean? It's really good. We've put everything in place, really.
That's good.
Yeah.
You know, people need to feel that they're still connected, and you know, some sort of normal life's going to go on. You know?
Oh yeah, exactly. I mean, the one good thing about life at the moment is that nature doesn't know about this coronavirus, and she's just carried on you know, flowers are blooming, birds are singing, seas are healing, rivers are bluer, and so on a positive point in all this is that nature's healing.
Yeah.
We've got to learn from this and not go back to what it was like before.
No.
You know what I mean?
Definitely a poem in that, Yvonne. Definitely a poem in that.
Yeah, there isn't.
Okay, folks. All right, then. I think everybody's back near enough. Looks like it. Can I just say that what we'll do, if that's all right, is that we're getting quite a bit of background noise, and I just think it's easier maybe this half. Especially, I think the phone was going quite a bit, and it's not loud. It's probably not loud to you if it's your phone, but it's the peeps are sort of like, what happens is that the sound is sort of like blocking the poet and so on. You know, as I say, it's just like a bit of a learning thing. People probably don't realise. So what we'll do is, when we've got quite a bit of background noise, if it's okay, we'll mute people, and then obviously you can, you know, do a thumbs up or a clapping icon, or just clap. People can see you anyway. Yeah. So if that's all right, we'll do that. Let's say we've probably got about eight readers this half, so we'll get cracking. Okay, looking forward to it. Okay, first person to read the work, who's going to kick off the second half, is Tony Kinsella.
Hello, Steve. Hi. Jeffarama was talking about Little Red Book by Bard Company, so-called because hardly anybody's ever read it. So I'm going to read from my Little Brown Book, which is quite similar, but I keep it in my back pocket. All of these poems are about 10 seconds long, so when we get to 4 minutes, just start throwing things at the screen and I'll see you. So the first one's called Lines on the Iconic Superiority of Leather Jackets and Levi Jeans over Modern-Day Fashion Atrocities. I never saw Fonzie wearing a onesie. The second one is called Lines on the Perils of Dropping Peri Peri Chicken into Your Lap. When dining at Nando's, never go commando. And the next one is, this one's called Stepladder. I love my stepladder, but one day I hope I will pluck up the courage to find out the identity of my real ladder. This one's called STD LOL. When flirting at the clap clinic, your chat up lines must soften. So I probably wouldn't open with, do you come here often? This one's called Lager. I love my Foster's Lager, but one day I hope I will pluck up the courage to find out the identity of my real lager. Brutal honesty. You asked, does my bum look big in this? And I tried to be diplomatic, but you were in the living room and your ass was in the attic. Spellbound. I bought a book the other day to try to make me sexier. The name of the book was Daily Sex, but it was all about dyslexia. This one's called, oh shit, not another callback poem. I love my Step CD, but one day I hope I will pluck up the courage to listen to some bloody decent music. I'm in love with a lady joiner at the local hardware store, but every time I enter, she makes a bolt for the door. This one's called, this is a serious one. It's called The Final Words on the Dying Breath of 2nd Lieutenant Fitzroy Worthington Chumley of the 3rd Winchester Regiment in the trenches of the Somme. I make love like a catalogue comes. I arrive in a jiffy every 2 months. This one's called Commitment Issues. She said I was scared of commitment, so I took some professional advice. I had a really good counselling session, but couldn't be asked going back twice. And Loving Limerick, where Steve got his runaway. My girlfriend and I are now through. I can't help but feel really blue. I said, will you still love me when I'm old, fat and ugly? And she said, of course I do. This is a very neglected subject in poetry. It's called lemons. Baked in a cake or on a one-armed bandit. 3 lemons are great, but the shit in a sandwich. The mystic went ballistic and everywhere was chaos. She hit me in the eyes with a Ouija board and blinded me with seance. I'll leave you with this one. It's just a couple of questions and I've called the poem Questions. If I go out with twins, is that called carbon dating? And if the Pope goes for a poo, is he just pontificating? Thank you very much.
Brilliant, mate.
Thank you. Thanks, Tony. Thank you for that.
Tremendous, Tony.
Okay, our next reader is Mary Cunningham.
How do I follow that, Tony? I don't know. Anyway, I've got 3 short ones about a theme, all related love, but over different years. So we'll see how it goes. This first one, some of you might have heard before, the other two you won't have. This is called Stretford Precinct. She was in supermarket overalls at the traffic lights, walking home from a late shift, when she turned and saw him on the 3rd floor of the multi-storey, still collecting trolleys. She recognised his silhouette, and he looked at her, crossing over the carriageway. He raised his arm in the air, signalled her to wait, then ran in the pouring rain to the red, amber and green, where she stayed, through spaces lit and unlit, ramps, railings, roads, until her umbrella. He held her hands on its stem, tilted it so that the cars could not see their first kiss. The night bus tyres yielding and dissolving. Thanks. The next one is called Another Manchester Dawn. Sex is glass in suburb flats, a telephone box at the local shops, a double-decker ride past Pomona's stinging towpath, a bird's eye belly view of metal johnnies in Palmolive's yard, bang of a fist on cylinder steel, flow pipes, decaying amps, giants crept on by circuit ants, boys and girls in electric dance or 3-litre engines with empty tanks, anoxic anthems of synth pop trance, dry martini and lemonade, pressing hands on stone.
Mary, can I just stop you there, because we're not catching any of this. I don't know, is that other people's experience? We're really struggling to catch, you know.
No, I got static there as well.
Got static.
Oh, is it the bloody internet? Is it?
Yeah, it might be.
Let me try something, because I've got a different internet connection I can use. I've got Gary might be downstairs using one. Just give us a minute. Quickly.
Clearly now, it was just when you were reading, it was really, crackling and static.
You can hear me now, okay?
Yeah. To be honest with you, Mary, the first piece was spot on. It was that second piece then. I got a lot of white noise flying out of my headphones then. So yeah.
Oh, okay. Shall I try again and see where we go?
Please.
Okay. This is called Another Manchester Dawn. Sex is glass in suburb flats, a telephone box at the local shops, a double-decker ride past Pomona's stinging towpath, a bird's eye belly view of metal johnnies in Palmolive's yard, a bang of fist on cylinder steel, flow pipes, decaying amps, giants crept on by circuit ants, boys or girls in electric dance or 3-litre engines with empty tanks, anoxic anthems of synth pop trance, dry martini and lemonade, thanks, a pressing hand on stone, the flesh between brick and bone, the tip of a finger on bud of buddleia, tissues torn on a brown, grey grease wall. And then on the same theme of love, but in a very different, maybe decade, a bit later on. This is called On His Wedding Day. Air sweats and hangs in hackneyed time. You see particles moving cells in your stare, links in the chain broken apart. Images float, fall, fly. Your train passenger brain whirring. A shift of the eye transpires. Distant cars drone in permanent murmur. A fly in the ear is sudden and nearer. You saw another dead yesterday. Had not been swat, had simply stopped. And this too will breathe its last breath with you.
That's great. Thanks, Mary. Thank you for that. Okay, next up is me. I'll read a piece of flash fiction. There's a bit of dialogue in it. There's two voices, so I hope you can follow it. And then I'll just read a poem about, like, have you ever been to, not a poem, yeah, a poem, sorry. Have you ever been to, has anyone ever been to a conference where you get like motivational speakers? And it's a bit sort, and then you get someone who's really dry, like, you know, like I don't know, you manage it. So I made some notes a couple of years ago after going to an event, and I've not done anything with it, so I wrote a poem this week about it. So I'll read the first story, and it's called, the first piece, it's called Blended. I never brought anybody home. I always slept over at the woman's place. My house was my bolt hole. If I skipped cleaning it for a month or two, it was my business. But things were different with Jess. From the outset, she stayed at mine, claiming she didn't like where she lived. I'd hesitated, but her flat was in the sticks and my house was much more convenient for pubs and takeaways. When we were in bed, I noticed her looking around at the cobwebs. As the weeks flew by, she occasionally offered her opinion about how my place would look better with a lick of paint and a little TLC. I nodded, even though I didn't know what TLC meant. Suddenly, lockdown happened, and because we were responsible citizens, we didn't see each other. We tried to video call, but her connection was terrible. Her phone signal wasn't any better. Another furlough day, necking cider in my overgrown garden, talking to myself. I asked Jess to move in with me. Darling, she texted, you made me the happiest woman in Moulton on the world. Great, I texted back. TBH, she texted. I put my flat on the market. I knew you'd pop the question. The question? I've picked out a dress. A dress? Not white, obs. What? Need a cat flap in the back door, do we? For Flossie, Missy and Sissy. Flissy. My fur babies, kiss, kiss. Told you about them, kiss, kiss. Did you? We need to clear out your spare room. I mean our spare room. Chuck out those horrible football trophies. My trophies. Nell will need somewhere to sleep. Who? She's at that awkward age, but you'll love her. Will I? She's already starting calling you daddy. Lol. And my next piece is called, it's a poem and it's called Next Item on the Agenda. Thank you, Mr. Motivational Speaker, for making the hair stand up on the back of my ears, relaying the time you came 16th, which was really last, but you didn't call it that, in a charity yacht race, resetting your goals stage by stage, the crew cabin bound by a dodgy fricassee, all except you with your robust constitution single-handedly steering most of the way. Blown off course, the radio temperamental, the galley out of bounds, hallucinating as starvation made you contemplate eating a sick shipmate or one of your deck shoes. until he picked up a signal and realised you were an hour away from Southampton. Through the setbacks, you refused to feel sorry for yourself or lose your focus, and though everybody had long gone home, you waved as you crossed the finishing line in time for dinner. Even in this dim-lit conference room, you looked tanned and windswept, salt in the corners of your eyes, the sea on your lips, receiving an ovation. Richard from procurement is on his feet, while I can't be the only one coveting your gold-braided cap and epaulets. And I'm delighted you haven't overrun, which makes a nice change, because next up is the HR director with her bullet-pointed slides and Venn diagrams illustrating joined up and cost-effective ways to work smarter. Thanks. Okay, we'll get the real poets on, shall we? Get them back. Yeah. Next up is Lisa O'Hare.
Hello. I've got two. Apologies if you've been on any other spoken word things and you've heard them before. The first one's called Let the Record Show. Let the record show our inquiries, reports and commissions. Let the record show we will learn, but provide few admissions of shame, regret or sorrow. Let the record show the stutters, waffle and guff. Let the record show how little we give a stuff. Let the record show we cannot erase our past. Let the record show how we gaslight and outcast in real time, as the record shows. And my second one is called Lockdown Life is a Roller Coaster of Emotions. It started with confusion. We weren't locking down, so we carried on regardless, which with hindsight was a ridiculous act of delusion. Then came fear. The rules were strict yet vague. We had to adhere. How long for? It was all less than clear. Days blurred into weeks, and by May, well, it felt like a different year. We could no longer hug. Just like that, pulled away from us like a rug that we hadn't even noticed was there. Each visit online felt like an attack. But not everything we saw was a fact. People would bluster, shout, argue, and overreact. Then came overload. At never-ending news. Too much to process, too much to download. I hit mute, 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 and slowed. Slowed and retreated. I ran away at home with cooking, books and art, busy, 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 trying not to fall apart. And finally came hope. Faith in others, keeping us safe. Those who try to collaborate, educate and elevate. Hope is not all we have, but it helps. So I hold it tight, as it's all I can hold, until we can all hold each other again. Thank you.
Okay, Lisa. Have you got another one for us, or?
No, that's it tonight. Thank you so much.
Okay, you're welcome. Thank you for that. Okay, our next reader is Yvonne UGarte. Yvonne. You need to unmute, Yvonne. Yvonne, you're on mute.
Yeah, you can't lip read me, can you? This first one is about trees. I wrote this when I was about 17. I love trees. I love nature and getting out there. And this is called Saison de l'Arbre. Silent sentinels, your limbs outstretched to the sun, tongueless witness to man's incessant thirst for power. Attired in rich green vestments, you successfully persuade summer to shower you with her life-giving kisses. Autumn seduces you with hesitant fingertips, discarding your burnished leaves with lazy ecstasy. before carpeting your feet with copper. Your modesty is lost in bold nakedness as winter rapes you of your final fragments of honour. Your whispers of relief are almost audible as spring bustles in to protect you from this indignity, lavishing each of your limbs with her chosen buds of promise. Thank you. And this next one is a new one that I'm getting published in an anthology, and we had to choose a theme from a list. And I chose Scarecrow Town. I do like scarecrows as well. Don't know why, very weird, but I do like scarecrows. Hamish wore a trench coat, silk-lined of cobalt blue, epaulets on shoulders both, 6 buttons shining new, with arms outstretched and faded gloves, glass eyes of chestnut brown, black-watched regimental trews, alone in Scarecrow Town. Hannah saw him watching and tossed her long straw hair. The summer dress clung to her shape with elegance and flair. Her outstretched arms reached out to him across that farmer's field. Her mismatched eyes locked onto his, and thus their fate was sealed. The tiny ruin of Saxton Church had a bell within its tower. They heard it chime, 11, 12, 13, the witching hour. The bright full moon shone on them both within that field of wheat, and in each chest, among the straw, a heart began to beat. Hannah's arms began to move, no longer held by wood. She stood on legs she'd never seen, and freedom tasted good. She looked across where Hamish was, untethered, wild and lean. Soon he was standing by her side, this scarecrow king and queen. She placed her hand upon his chest, could feel his heart within. Her stitched-on smile was very real when straw became real skin. Hannah held her in his arms, a joy that knew no bounds, finding love in the twilight world in a magic scarecrow town. Thank you. Thank you.
Sorry, I started speaking as well and I'm on mute. Thank you for that. Great Zoom, isn't it? Okay, our next reader is Antonia Fusaro.
Hello. So I have written 4 new ones. So I'm going to try and read them very fast and see if I can get them all in. This is the first one.
I'll take this.
Is my favourite place to be. Open mouth, spilling honesty, teetering on boundaries that neither of us intend to cross for fear of what that loss would mean to both of us. Regrets laid out like playing cards, fingers dressed as lessons learned. We offer up shame like winning hands. No rules in place to force the pace of conversation. No penance served for sins confessed or judgment passed for wrongs redressed with apologies. Just canvas blank listening ears and late night, midnight disclosed fears. Comfort sought and given generously, swaddled in the understanding that this is exactly necessary for now. Thank you. The first one. The second and the third are a 2-parter. I've started to try and write from her perspective and his perspective. This is hers. Some sexual references in the next 2. You push into me with tender force and watch as my breath catches and my mouth changes shape. You know me well. You bend me at my hip and my feet push against your chest. I fold and I move around you. I fit perfectly in the space you've created for me. I breathe and relax and wait. Wait for the feeling we both know should be there. You fall asleep in my dampness. Your nostrils filled with the smell of a good time and my taste in your mouth. And then this is his perspective. I've had a little help with this one. I push into you firmly, like I'm insisting on being here, and you welcome me. I hear your breath catch and feel your skin prickle, sweat trickle, goose pimple. My eyes miss your eyes and I fix on your mouth, lips parted. I fold you at your hip and you push back, arched back. My grip on your wrist as your hips twist to meet mine. Teeth itch, nose twitch, hair catching on your salty lip. I rush into you, your smell in my nose, and your taste in my mouth, and I am spent. I twist off you, eyes wide. We lie, not looking as we retreat into ourselves. I focus on the mark on the ceiling as my breath steadies. You move to switch off the light, still wanting, and the room goes dark. And then the last one. Goes up. None of them are titled. I really need to get my finger out and put some titles to them. There's something about you and I can't put my finger on it. The way you draw me to you as the day ends. You pamper my ego whilst checking my values. You correct without judgment. You guide without force. You listen with your fingers as we tap away our Morse code of secrets. Those lines drawn in pubs, drawn in sand, drawn inside, have no place in this safe place that I come to find myself and you, ever patient, ever present. Open to the idea that we're doing it wrong, yet conscious of the places we've both come from, and nurturing words passed from fingers to eyes, and they stay in this safe place that I've come to find myself and you, ever patient, ever present. Thank you very much.
That's great. Thanks, Antonia. Thank you for that. We did have I shouldn't laugh really, but it's like Gordon's older line just dropped off again. It's just dropped off the edge of the internet. I did actually offer to put him on a bit earlier, didn't I? But he insisted on going second, and now I don't know, he's lost in Prestwich or somewhere. Or Salford. So we've got two more readers. We've got Maria, then we've got Esther to wrap us up. So our next reader is Maria Byrne. Maria, that's it. Great.
Sorry.
Okay. Maria.
Yeah.
Okay, good.
The first one, I wrote this a time ago, and it was a part of a workshop that I attend, and it was about vegetables, and this is my take on that. It's called Murder of the Ground. It's murder to wrench the soul of the ground, to deprive it of the fruits of the cereals, all reaped by the grim reaper. Of the vegetable world who mourns the fruits, where they all go to slaughter one by one. The carrots spill their orange blood, and the greens do they not bleed green? Broccoli, kale, gooseberries, lonely sitting by one they go to slaughter, and to be paraded on the plates for you and me. Thank you. This next one is called the cloakroom. At the back of a nightclub, as you get in, there's a cloakroom waiting for someone to tag a number to your coat. The music lively, rhythm high and dynamics, and the eager timbre and piercing tones. You go off and put your coat in the cloakroom, in a world of its own, taking in the tempo, rocking and head banging to a party of its own. Living life while you're away, snuggling, touching, mingling its placid arms around the other coats, catching 3 pints of lager, cider, red wine, and absorbing them, becoming plastered in the party drink. Only when you come back to your cult later, you never know the life or party experience it had. Nor do you remember anything of the night before. Thank you. Me.
Is that you finished, Mary?
Yeah.
Okay, thank you for that. Make sure I've not missed anybody out. First of all, before we go on to Esther. So is everybody's read? That's good. Okay. Yeah. To finish off the evening for us is Esther Koch.
Hi everyone. Can you hear me okay?
Excellent.
Is it all? Okay, brilliant. I've got 2 brand new pieces. They're very rough and ready, and they are connected. But yeah, I'll let you work out that one. So the first one is called My Prophet. You sit cross-legged in the soil like you are humility, in a shirt, arse rooted in the dirt under a banyan tree, writing sutras, languishing in futures only the third eye sees, like a cat with satanic knowledge reposes under a car in midday heat. 1,000 years come and go. The amber you perspire gives you a foundryman's glow. Dead mosquitoes host dead secrets secreted in every orange bead that your body throws like hot, horizontal rain. You are become an archaic trunk, and today I want your gossamer-winged propeller seed. And now it's kingdom come. Your bark whistles its candidacy. It aways in charcoal wafers. Willow wisps have come to witness you gnash your way out of self-imposed purdah, like it's jerky and not botany. These creatures snap at the crumbs you leave, like the shreds of a Cadbury's flake. And I watch among them as you eat your own unfreedom. You are the cracked crystalline pan of a desiccated salt lake. You are a generous religion. I put my hand on my heart, step forth. I require no libation. Come to me. So that's the first one. Thank you. And the second one is unfinished, and it's in different parts. But its provisional name is I'll Be the Stench of Love. I am cauldrons of love crackling away in old era. I am butter and soot, congealed in your nails and in your lifelines. Mash your hands together, ready for a smashing and insufficient supper. And I'll spring forth, magic bread. Break me. I'll still relish the pilgrimage through your digestive tract. Ship me into irrigation ditches. I'll join coquettish naiads and wise salmon in the white water. And then the Armada Cemetery between Kerry and Galway. Maybe I'll see your black hair on a sea-silkened cranium. 2. I'd cut off my left breast to send a steady arrow into your chest, drag you behind the wagon with the rest of the carcasses. The stench of my stress is red meat, claret wine, and cornucopia-headed, cloven-footed, flipped upside down, 5-pointed, billy goat bloody violence. I'm the cyanide in your Waldorf salad. My nuts give you your nuts. I'm the Satan in your system with which you were born. Thank you. Cool. Thanks, guys.
Thanks, Esther. Cyanide in you all, Dolph Salad. Thank you for that. Great way to end the night. Fantastic, everybody. You know, I think we did really well. We did, you know, thanks for keeping to time. Thanks for respecting other people. You know, and, you know, 4 or 5 minutes is plenty of time, isn't it, to get your work across. Thank you to everybody. Have a, in the circumstances, have a good summer up until, you know, in August, and you know, look out for the Facebook page, and as Andy said before, we're hoping to get a live event maybe somewhere in short. If we can get, we need a big room, bigger than SIP, just until we get up and running again. Obviously the SIP Club are fantastic in supporting speaking, so we do want to go back there, but we are going to try to get somewhere in August, and/or have another Zoom event as well. Andy, is anything you want to say?
Not really, no. We'll stay safe. We'll stay sane. My philosophy last Steve. See you all in September.
Okay, everybody. Lovely to see you. Take care. Yeah.
Thank you very much, guys.
Thanks, everybody. Been brilliant.
Thank you very much.
Well done, everyone.
Everybody, fantastic.
Take care, everyone.
Take care.
Bye.
Great stuff.